Alright, I'm doing this kind of late in the day. I slept in, like, a lot. Like, too much. Story time while this game launches. I was out of town this weekend, like, dog sitting, and these were the most high maintenance dogs I've ever had to deal with. They howled at everything, they barked at everything, they were extremely just rude. I know it's like weird for a dog to be considered rude, but like they were constantly nudging me all the time and asking for attention, which obviously you should give attention to animals, but like an absurd amount. But most nights I got maybe 2 hours of sleep max because of the howling and barking. So I finally got back yesterday and I like passed out for like the last forever. I'm just tired. All right, here we are, weekly reset. We are going to be starting again, going through vaults and then talking about some just general stuff that was released on Wowhead. I look very white. Like I said, I was out of town this last weekend, so I didn't get as many keys done or things done as possible. So I actually did not get a vault at all on my DK. Sad day. So the DK is just going to be on the bench for now, which is kind of stupid. I should be playing my DK more for how strong it is. But we will start with the monk, move our way up, and yeah, just kind of talk about stuff. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I know it's now Tuesday and or Wednesday for some people, or probably later, but I hope you're having a good day. No one's going to be at the vault anymore. Okay, Brewmaster. I've been cleaning up my Brewmaster a little bit this week. This last week I played it a lot, like Tuesday through Thursday. I've been messing around a lot with this cache of acquired treasures and keys, and oh my god, is it fun. This does so much damage. If you can get your hands on one as a Brewmaster, or as I think any agility using tank, it's so fun. It's the best thing ever. So what it does is it cycles through 3 weapons every 11 seconds, and you can see it here. I have haste, so it'll give me haste now. This bleed effect though is so big. Every time you crit, it applies a bleed for a few seconds. That just hits just for an outrageous amount. It hits for like, I want to say anywhere between like 2.5 and 4k. Here we can actually see, I did Raid Finder at the end of last night. So the average hit was 2.5k and the average crit was 4.5k, with the max crit being 7k and the max normal hit being 3k. So this, or 3.5k. So this scales with weapons of order, which is stupid. So like you can get your weapons of order to ramp. You can like weapons, keg smash, and then once you have your 4 stacks and you hit this trinket on bleed, you just start ripping shit. Some Brewmasters have been running this in keys. I don't know how efficient it is to push like 27s, 28s, 29s, but like if you're even just doing 25s or lower, Brewmaster has a good enough toolkit to actually live. I'm going on a rant for all the wrong reasons. This trinket was bugged at the start of last week after 925 came out, but they finally fixed it last couple days. So it's working again. It's great. But I'm pretty much geared out. Well, there's like small upgrades I can get. I'm really hoping for like non-tier gloves, because Haste Mastery is kind of poo-poo. Or just like a tier slot like that I can upgrade with Flux, like Helm or Chest. Or like, I don't know, Scale. They recently nerfed Codex, but I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, because I think there's some misinterpretations of like some of the blue posts that have come out, and they've talked a lot about Codex over the last like week. So they nerfed it, then they fixed the buffs, or they fixed the nerfs, but then they like tuned back the trinket. There's some stuff to talk about. So we're in Brewmaster and we'll see what we get. I think I got 2 slots. Oh, nice. Poxstorm and Raid Finder Shoulders. Do I take Pox? This is actually huge. I don't know if it's actually huge. Let's take a look at subcreation. I've used this before in multiple videos. This is a great tool to see exactly what items people are running. Now, oftentimes you'll go to like, let's just go to like wrists. Where's wrist at? You'll see like wrists, and it's kind of like, it's not great to look at these because you're going to see like different ones. Like you got haste verse here, verse mastery, crit verse math. Like, so these things don't really matter, but things like trinkets, things like tier items and legendary slots are really good here. Rings are obviously really good to look at here, but we want to look at weapons, because like you can see that double Poxstorm is being ran, double Poxstorm is being ran. Someone is running a staff, but you're seeing like you'll see which weapons are being used. So you see a lot of offhand poxes. Yeah, I think I go pox. Like pox is being ran in like 28. So you see pox here, you see pox here. You see double blood spiller. Then you see pox and offhand blood spiller main, double pox even. Some brewmasters are actually running. I didn't know brewmasters were running pole arms as often. I figured double enchants were more efficient and attack speed was better. Like auto attack speed was going to be better than running a main hand or a two-handed staff or a polearm. Interesting. Okay, so we definitely go Poxstorm this week, right? Oh man, that feels so bad. So at the end of last night, I jumped into LFR at 4 in the morning. I needed to fill up my vaults, and I wanted extra coins to be able to get a socket because I have 3 coins. I wanted the extra 4, but with Poxstorm, I take Poxstorm, so that was like so dumb for me. I spent like 30 minutes in queue because it was so late at night that no one was queuing up. We'll take Poxstorm. So that's actually huge. That's a massive increase. So I'm probably gonna, I don't even know. So this one gives me really low crit plus mastery, which I would imagine I would replace my Air Interrogator's Flensing Blade. Just like, I know haste versus isn't great. I like where I am at with haste. Like haste at 11 feels a little bit better. I know some brewmasters run haste at 9%. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like my energy, it might be in my head, but I sometimes feel like my energy regen is really, really fucking low. Despite it being just like a 2% difference. It just feels fluid when you're like above 10, and I know with high tolerance, obviously, like you have higher haste, but I think we're gonna go, yeah, I think we go this on off. Pox is always on offhand. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you use Pox, you typically go offhand. All right, Demon Hunter, I think I only ended up doing 4 keys on this guy as well. Like I said, I was out of town. We're gonna double check our spec. Trinket, it needs to be changed for sure. There's no way I get anything good. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, sick. I'm gonna lose a little bit of avoidance, but I'm still sitting on 252 shoulders, which I think is way better than anything. So once again, I plan on taking coins. Since I have 4, I would have gotten 4 from my vault, and I could have then gotten a socket on my helm, which is 278, but in this scenario, I think I go shoulders. I just don't know if I have enough flux to actually turn them into tier. But right now, I'm not wearing tier and shoulders, so I think we're going to stick with this. I know they're not great. Actually, they're pretty shit. But I think I want to replace gloves. We'll go upgrade this tier really quick. So yes, there are going to be haste versus gloves I can get from just doing keys. So I'm going to... Actually, I don't know why I'm going here. I don't even know if I have flux. I do not... No, I do. It's 1200 for shoulders, I'm pretty sure. We'll find out when we get there. So having heavy mastery in these shoulders is not great. So I think turning them into tier gives me the crit, the high haste, lower crit. I do lose a little bit of verse, but I mean, I'm not like in this piece specifically, I'm not losing anything outside of probably the avoidance, but main set's going to be better anyway. So we'll transform these. I only have 7 more charges. This is ridiculous, man. You get so many charges. So we have this. We'll throw these on. Perfect. We have our transmog buddy here. Thank you, buddy. And last but not least, we'll save our set. And we should be good. Hell yeah. That's big. 2 big vaults so far. So we're 2 for 2. So we're going to do Paladin. If you notice something different, I went big fucking goat, dude. The goat. I like goats. Don't flame. Don't hate. If I could play goats competitively and still raid and be in a guild, I would go goat on all my characters. I'd be a goat druid. I'd be a goat paladin. Oh, I am a goat paladin. Goat monk, but unfortunately, it's kind of meh. But I will say this: Light's Judgment hits. It just fucking slaps. Light Judgment was doing like as a tank like 3.5% of my damage, 4%, which is pretty big from a racial. So it's like having an extra trinket. I kind of swapped to it. I was like, maybe like it'll help with threat, but the threat pretty much fixed everything. I don't think when it comes to prot, I need anything specifically. Like a better scale would be cool. Prot Paladin's kind of a weird spot. I think I'm just going to roll my vault and see what I get and hope that it's decent. I think I did 4 keys. Yeah. Ooh, that's not looking good. Heavy crits, crit mastery. These are pretty trash. And I already have haste versus feet, so I go coins. It's not bad. Coins are always good. The only problem with coins, though, if I'm not mistaken, I think I have a socket on every piece that I would want to socket. I have battery. What's up with my rings? Okay, hold on. I need to swap back to prot because I can't tell what I'm doing. I have socket. I don't have socket on bracers, so I could socket my bracers, but I know I just looted these, which have socket. I think I'm going to replace. I got these as a rat, and then I logged off. As you can tell, they're still the, you may trade this item with players. Yeah, this is super fucking good. I think they're better than what I have on. Less verse, more haste, though. It's always kind of cool. I don't even know. We'll have to figure it out later. But I do have 8 tokens now, so at any point I can pick up more flux if I feel like I need it. Or I can, you know, I can get a socket if I get a cool piece in a future week. Or I can always go with gold if I want an extra couple, like 6k gold. I can turn that in. But I think we're just going to chill. I don't have much. Paladin's fun to play. The problem is, though, it's like, it's not great. Like, I'm already playing Bear, which is bad. Prot Paladin's in this weird spot where it's tanky, but it's tanky until it isn't. And as soon as it's not tanky, it dies. And it's unfortunate. Again, it's really fun to play. Like, I fill in typically when it's like Plaguefall and we need the Dispel, or we need extra kicks. So I've top 23s. My lowest are like 18s. I have some 15s on the board still, but nonetheless, like it's a fine tank. Like, it's really fun, but I know at the top end it's gonna fall off, so might be on the back burner for a bit. All right, next we have our warrior. I know the last couple episodes, if you guys actually watched all the way through, I typically cut out at the warrior, like right when I go to pick something. I think this time around, you guys are just gonna see what I pick. Keystone to Hero Challenge. I have episode 3. It's recorded. It's in the editing process. I'm just like trying to finish it up. I was out of town, like I said already this weekend. I didn't have time to edit it, so I am a little behind on that process. But my goal is to get it. Basically, I'm done with this video. Once I'm done with this and it's posted, I will be editing until basically Keystone to Hero Challenge is done. So I am currently 252 item level. My IO actually hit 2k, so you guys are getting a little sneak peek preview here. I got mostly 10s done last week. I have 2 5s on the board and I missed the streets. Just, man, when you're out of town and you can't play, it just sucks. Feels bad. And then this week I have a lot of cleaning up to do. So 252 item level, got some good stuff going, but we are going to be rolling protection and hopefully we get something good. So lately I've been taking flux from my vault. I've been taking coins, going into flux and just like upgrading pieces. But this time I did get a lot of decent keys done. So we're looking at like this belt. It sucks because we have unity there. Hands, that could be a potential slot. This could be a better chest piece. But the problem with the chest piece is I have a 265 there. Now that I hit 2k, I can upgrade this to 272, which is only 3 animals lower. There's no tertiaries on this, and there's still the potential to get it to 278. So I don't think this is a good play. The belt, I have unity already there. I'm not going to take the belt. That'd be stupid. And then gloves. I'm torn because it's farmable. I can farm gloves, right? From keys. Like, I can get a glove drop. It can be a higher item level than this. I can get it at 262. And then I can be upgraded to 272 anyways. And I can turn it into tier, which I'm going to do anyways. Or, like, eventually. So, and because I know I'm going to change stuff to tier. And I don't have a ton of flux. I think once again for the 3rd week in a row, I'm going coins. I just don't think it's worth to take a 275 if I can get a 278 in the future. So we're going to go with coins again. And now these coins are going to be used to buy flux at my own, like, my convenience. Also, I can socket an item if I really feel like I need to. So that'll be what we do on the warrior. Stay tuned. I'm going to pretty much do so my plan is episode 3 is coming out. It got me like halfway through that last tyrannical week. And then the episode 4 is just going to fucking bolt. Like, I'm going to just quickly go over keys, quickly go through stuff. It's going to be like a montage version of stuff. And that'll catch you up, probably to this point. So this will be probably episode 5 and onwards. Last but not least, we have our Guardian Druid. And this is the point that I'm going to talk about Codex. Because I was running it last night in a few keys we did before I hit the hay. And so what happened to Codex? So if you don't know what Codex is, it's this trinket here. Codex are the first technique What it does is it acts as a better version, mainly because of item level, as reactive defense matrix from Sanctum. If you don't know what that trinket is, basically upon taking damage, you basically get a buff, it procs, and then it is gonna, like, every second or whatever, it like reflects damage at whatever you're targeting. What was broken about this trinket before is that the scaling on it was really wonky, but also the fact that, like, Brewmasters, for example, their stagger ticking would proc the trinket. So what they did originally is they nerfed the trinket basically into the ground. They nerfed it by, like, I would say like 90%. But the issue with the nerf is that they didn't take into account the scaling. They nerfed it down to like what it dropped at like a heroic item level from Tazavesh. So that was the biggest reason why the nerf was like catastrophic, is because basically for a few days, the nerf was just like, you were better off running just like a stat stick. You were better off running Pulsating Stoneheart. This was going to be a better trinket than Codex. So they reverted the change, or at least some of the change. They kept in the stagger aspect, and then they addressed the tuning aspect, because this 278 was worth just as much as like a 158, 120 level difference. The difference was probably like, I think the stam was still scaling fine, but the actual effect was pretty crazy. So when this procs, it's like a 10% DR essentially, and it reflects damage. So if we take a look at, let's just take a look at this 25 halls, ignore the damage because our lock was pumping. This still did 4% of my damage, not bad. You're pretty lucky when an offensive trinket can do 3 to 4% of your tank damage. It would be more if it wasn't for these Stoneborns. And then if you look at my healing, it's still doing like 5% healing. It's still really good. It ended up essentially mitigating almost 800k damage, or healing 800k damage back to me. So this trinket's still good. It's still good to use. Will bears use it at the top end? Now, bears specifically probably will, because stam scales with a lot of things. It mostly our frenzied regeneration, but during our frenzied regeneration is a percent-based heal, so the higher health, the more it's going to heal for. Also, the way that like the reflect works and the damage reduction works, it is absorbed before the thrash shield and your earth wardens. So like, or actually after earth warden, before thrash shield. Kind of confusing there. So like, it actually creates this like a little bit more of a buffer when we're just taking generalized like auto attack damage, some casts. Still a really good trinket to use. Could you run a different trinket? Maybe you can try to like run IQD, but again, IQD is going to give you more damage during Incarn, and you're going to be really squishy without it. You can run basic shit like File or Toxin, but where am I going? I'm a little tired, and you'll be fine. I think if you have a Codex, like, use it. If you don't have a Codex, it's still probably worth going for, or if you rip one from your vault, I think it's still worth taking. There was just a little bit of like issues, and I think I hate to shit on like class discords, but they become like echo chambers, and like one person will be like it's bad, which, don't get me wrong, it was nerfed significantly for Brewmaster. There's better trinkets to run for damage and survivability, like bears and like other class discords. Like, it's still going to be a fine trinket. It's still efficient. It's not going to scale as high as it was because it was a little busted. Bear, we don't have really much to look for. We're just going to kind of rip this vault and hope that we get... Oh, wait. Hold on. Nah. Do I go feral? I'm like throwing a scale chance, but if I don't go feral, I'm throwing a cast chance, which... Fuck it. Nah, ooh. I'm gonna go Guardian this week. I'm gonna regret this. I know I am. My brain just fucking short-circuited. This doesn't look like a crazy vault at face value. You're like, legs, but I have haste versus legs. I have my BIS legs already at 278. I don't need the tier because I have 278 legs and I already have 4 set equipped. Also, legs are the worst because they're high crit. Crit's bad for bear. Mastery is okay. Crit's not bad for bear, but it's not. Haste versus is way better. But first sigil's a meme. No doubt in my mind. First Sigil is a meme. But it's insanely good for gear swap strats, and it's really fun for if you're running Legacy and low keys and you're just going for like a yeet incarn speedrun damage build. It's pretty decent. I have a 265. The verse difference is about 100. 1310, 240, so it's about 70 difference. The first sigil is also good for Boomkin. I play Venthyr. Not often. I often tank. I don't know what to do here. Well, it doesn't matter. But the other option is his belt. I could swap Unity. I could swap Unity to, like, Ring. Or I could swap Unity to my boots temporarily. I'd lose main stat, though, doing that. I'd lose main stat. I could always throw Unity on my necklace. It's just, the reason I'm thinking about this is because it's high verse, and it's low mass, and my belt is verse mastery, so it would actually get me more verse. I'd get avoidance, and that avoidance would put me at, it's like a 2 or 3% reduction. I would lose a little bit of main stat, but I would gain avoidance, and then it would free up my Unity slot to go in a different slot, which I can then throw like Ring. I can either go Ring or I can go Boots. Boots would give me a pretty big item level upgrade, but there are better boots I would take, which then I can replace Necklace. So this necklace is great because of the high verse, but it's a lower item level. Item level doesn't matter as much on necks and rings with Socket, plus the effect is pretty dope. Oh, I'm a little torn here because first sigil is also like, I can see this belt again. Maybe not with tertiary, but I can definitely see the first sigil again. And also first sigil I wouldn't use. This I would use all the time. I feel like I should consult subcreation again. Let's go here. We'll go to the top. We'll go tanks, guardian druids. And then it's like, I know what Legos they're running. It's just like what slots are people running it in. So to tell which slots people are running Legos in, you can see by looking for the Shadowgast items. So you can see like here we have an Umbrahide Helm. It's only a 26 though. So you see that tier, it's high verse. You would always run Helm. I don't know why. Like when you see these, it's pretty obvious that you run the Helm. But if you see something like 30%, like lower, like you have options. Like these top 3 are options. You could always look at the max key level, but their gear set is going to be so specific because that's just like what they're running in that 29. And then you see things like this, like 60% probably. I would say like if it's anything above 60, you can probably know that it's going to be. But you'll also see here at like pants, right? You see Unity. We see gloves here. And then rings. You're not seeing really any Lego rings. You're seeing here, but it's so low. This player in a 20 was actually running boots, which... So these are the boots I'm wearing, right? And they're ran up to 28. The issue is I don't have a mythic version, and I just haven't seen them drop yet. Oh, God. I feel like I have to make a choice, which kind of sucks, because I could wait for raid tonight and see if I get boots. Because if I get boots, I would maybe change it. I'm going to spend way too long here. 58... What would a 58 avoidance be? I don't even know. I don't have any avoidance pieces. Do I have any avoidance pieces? Oh, you know what? I could... Oh, here we go. Ace Mastery. The avoidance on this ring is somewhat equal. All right, so it's going to give me 3% avoidance. So why am I making such a big deal out of this? Avoidance? Well, avoidance is a AoE damage reduction, and it caps out at 20%. So you can never get more than 20%, even if you had avoidance on all your gear. I don't know if they fixed that. At least in BFA, that's how it worked. There are a lot of things in the game that are coded as AoE. Typically, this is going to be like your slams and your shouts. Sometimes your frontals too are coded as AoE. So a 3% damage reduction is pretty big for tanks. Now, again, it's not like a make or break if you're ever between two pieces and it's like, oh, this one has crit mastery and this one has verse haste, with like, but the one with crit mastery has avoidance. You're probably going to lean to the haste verse. If you have it like on a ring and you're deciding between like tertiary and Socket's probably the better play, but avoidance can be pretty useful, like in Halls of Atonement, in Theater of Pain. I'm not really sure what else. I mean, not off the top of my head at least, but I think the avoidance would be way better. The only issue is then I would lose out on the socket that I currently have. And I would have to wait a couple weeks to get a socket, or I'd have to at least wait till next week to get a socket, unless I rip something else out of my vault. So I just like the first sigil would be a meme. If I take it, it's like literally just for like, it's like a pride move. I would take it literally just because, oh my God, this is such a hard decision. I've literally been on the, like I've been sitting here for 10 minutes. For DPS, this is so easy, man. You just like fucking sim it. I hate being a tank. You know what, guys, I'm sorry. I can't make this decision yet. I need to wait till I raid tonight. Once I raid, the reason I'm waiting till I raid is because the hope or goal, I guess, is to kill, what am I looking at here? So we'll kill first 5, and that'll give me a shot at both the boots and the trinket. So we're gonna wait. But I will update you next week, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's talk about some routing things this week. And it's not going to be crazy. So this week we are seeing a Raging Volcanic. Volcanic is almost a non-affix. It's tyrannical, of course, so bosses are going to be beefier. Trash is going to be easier. So trash, you can be very aggressive with some bigger pulls. There's a few things that you need to worry about with the Raging, though. So there are mobs that obviously get enraged. So these guys get enraged from the Loyal Beast casts, which come from the Houndmasters. Hunters, for example, can only soothe 1 magic and 1 enrage effect. So if Loyal Beast gets off as they enrage, it'll only purge 1. So you just need to be super careful on Gargans, or you need to make sure you're interrupting Houndmaster. Obviously, Druids, for example, can soothe. It just cleans all enrage effects, so we're fine there. But mobs like this, even despite the fact that it's not fortified and it's tyrannical, an enrage Gargan, this will hit harder than the fortified version of it because it's getting double damage, and the fortified multiplier is what, 30% or whatever it is. So these guys are going to get real scary. So you need to kite, soothe if you can. Obviously, good choices this week are going to be Hunter, Druid, and Rogue. Boomkins are super useful this week with trees. Trees can be used towards the end of a pull to help alleviate some of that raging damage. Just get some soothes, use some CC towards the end of pulls. Pretty easy. Group-based damage like Thrash on Rage is also extremely deadly. So you got to be careful in hierarchies on things like this. Also in Theater of Pain, you need to be careful with the mini boss mobs. If you accidentally pull Nekthara, for example, with the interrupting roar, if you accidentally pull Heaven with the interrupting roar, or if you do Advent Nevermore with the seismic stomp, these mobs, when they're in rage, are going to do a ton of damage. Now, what's really nice about this is you can outrange it if you can get 60 yards away. So you just need to be a little wary. You can't CC these guys, so they might be spooky, but we'll get there. In Streets of Wonder, you're going to see certain mobs get enraged. If you are like me and you end up pulling some of these Sparkcasters and Peacekeepers, these guys in range, their Quelling Strike will probably just one-shot your caster. Again, I'm speaking at like a 22, 24 plus. You just need to be a little bit wary of some of these guys. Things like Stasis Beams are real scary from the specialists. And then also the Portalmancer and the Gate Warden. So Gate Warden Zomaz, and then you have Portalmancer Zohon. These guys with their Radiant Pulse, it can be line of sighted. Now, of course, this isn't the whole pull. This is only during the enrage part if you don't have a soothe in your group. In this pull specifically, the tank can keep the guy down here, and range people can line of sight at the top of the stairs, which is super convenient. And in this room, you can line of sight him back here if you tank him on the wall, like right along the wall right here. That's a horrible arrow. That's also a bad arrow. Let's see this. There we go. So if you tank him here during the raging cast, your range group can LOS, and then there's a pillar you can line of sight next to. It's a little difficult, but now that Storming's gone, it should be a little bit easier. Gambits, again, it's the double enrages that are really spooky. You have the is it the Shell Crushers do the Cry of the Murgalurg, and this obviously increases all the Murloc's damage by 50%. This is going to has like a multiplicative. I don't know if it's multiplicative or additive. It might be additive, but even then, A 50% damage increase followed by another 100% damage increase makes them just as dangerous, if not more, than fortified trash. So again, when raging happens, be very careful. I know a lot of groups just kind of mow down this trash. So again, it's probably not as big deal as I'm making it out to be, but just be careful. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, I might be wrong about this because it happens with other mobs as well. But if Invigorating Fish Stick gets off towards the end of the poll and mobs drop below 30% health in rage and then they heal above, once you push them back down, I think they will just get re-enraged again. So you just need to be careful with like heals like this. Most of the other trash is going to be fine. You need to be careful of the haymakers from the burly dockhands when they get enraged. And have the super seasoning. These guys will absolutely slap. So again, like if you see a pattern here, it's the double enrage effects that get scary. So enraging plus Super Saiyan, you can actually interrupt this cast by like using a roar or disorient or an incap or a knock, but be careful. We can then check out, let's see, Necrotic Wake. The big thing in this route is going to be like things like this Vanguard. Again, they have this stacking Seething Rage, which just, it increases their attack speed. So when they start getting, start hitting faster and faster and they get enraged at the end of a pull and they have 20 stacks, your tank's going to fall over real quick. Or with Bone Claw. Be very careful on Bone Claw. It's an 8-yard range. If you're further than 8 yards away, it will hit a melee. It's mistakes I've made many, many times. Most of the other stuff in here shouldn't be too bad with raging. Some of these guys at the end of the pull, like Rotspew, this raged will nuke your the person that's spewing disease on. It spews it on a random enemy. Sometimes it's the tank, sometimes it's not. If it's not the tank, you need to make sure that they're soothed or that they're using a defensive. Spires. Goliaths are mostly the big issue with this. Some of these stealth claws get real spooky, obviously. So moral of the story is like, there's no enrages in here though. Moral of the story is, double enrages are the spookiest thing in here. I've already talked about Theater, but like again in Theater you have your Raging Bloodhorn that does its rampage plus will get enraged when it gets towards the end of the pull. Outside of that, there's nothing like too crazy. There are some extra enrages and miss, but the enrages and miss are kind of meh. They come from the what am I doing? This is wrong. These aren't soul cleavers at the start. Damn it, Nagi. The defenders. The defenders do Spirit Flurry, but they also get enraged. And they also get enraged when mobs die. So just gotta be a little careful on this one. Oh, and then the bow breakers. Bow breakers, AoE damage, same thing. If once they hit that 30%. Actually, these guys aren't as scary because they do their Furious Thrashing at 50. You just don't want to push them from 50 to 30 before their cast ends. It's like, what, a 4-second channel, 6-second channel? So, slow damage. Like, once you hit 50 in one, swap to the other. Trying to think. Nothing too crazy in here. Halls we already went over. And the other side, the biggest thing here are going to be, like, your warlords and your cultists. So the cultists, their casts, they need to be kicked, especially when they get sub 30. Mostly on Scribe. You don't want to worry about kicking Dark Lotus because it's avoidable. Most people skip most of Mechagon, so we're fine in here. The Blade Storms. These Blade Storms can get real scary on Raging. As soon as they start doing this at like a low percent, these will just nuke all your melee. It's every half second. Oh, I hate these guys. But that's pretty much it. I don't think there's much else to talk about. Yeah, if you're really wondering, I'm sure Dratnos has 30 videos out already about exactly what mobs you should be careful of and not careful of. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is probably, out of the entire calendar, you're gonna see a tyrannical volcanic bursting in 6 weeks, as long as they don't drop season 4 randomly. But this is probably one of the better tyrannical weeks. Yeah, Raging's a little annoying, but the counterplay is pretty easy. Just either kite or obviously bring a soothe class. But yeah, this is a really good week to get IO. Go chase some of those, 20s or 22s or 18s or whatever you're pushing for. This is a really good week to do it because you pretty much have only one affix active, which is Raging. Volcanic, you won't notice it. Your cachers will complain a little bit, but they'll get used to it pretty quickly. But yeah, good luck in your vaults. Good luck in your keys. I'm sure most of you have already opened your vaults. EU players haven't yet. So yeah. All right, I will catch you all in the next one. Take care.